So what is Marvel Rivals? Well, essentially, it's very similar if you've ever played Overwatch and to how that kind of game works, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Hey, you! What are you doing? No, in all seriousness, yes, I'm going to be comparing it to Overwatch, but it's definitely different than Overwatch. It's its own thing. It's like comparing Battle Royales, right? If you were to say, like, well, PUBG versus H1Z1. Well, H1Z1, if I recall correctly, was out first, and so does that mean PUBG was like just a ripoff? It's just a clone of H1Z1. Some may have argued that. But then you go down the line and every battle royale has kind of done their own thing a little bit. And yes, Marvel Rivals is very similar mechanically, especially how the characters play to Overwatch, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I still think Marvel Rivals does its own thing in and of itself. And so we're going to talk about what is this game and just kind of the gist of it. A large focus of this video is going to be on how to actually play and breaking it down for people that maybe have either are not super familiar with Overwatch or maybe just want to get more familiar with Marvel Rivals. Now, I'm not a professional by any means. I've got about 25-ish hours sunk into this game. I've been enjoying it. I've been playing a lot of different characters. I'm trying to get the Platinum Trophy, which does require you to play every single character because there's like a trophy for every single character basically. And so I've been really kind of getting the gist of everything, and I would highly suggest you do the same if you're jumping into this game, because trying to like get some gameplay with every single game time with every single character is good, not only to find what you like and don't like, but also to find out what every character does so you understand them better. So if you're getting teamed up against these characters, hey, I know how these characters work. I know their abilities. I know what they can do. I know what they can't do. I know their pros. I know their cons, right? I know their strengths and weaknesses. And so that's going to really help you out. Get a little bit of an edge on your opponents when you're playing in the game. Now, the game itself is free to play, by the way. You can download it absolutely for free. It's on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and it's incredible. So it's free to play. The money, you're going to be saying, well, where's the money kind of come in? Well, there's cosmetics and stuff. There's going to be a store, right? So if I go over to the store real quick, you can see there's some bundles and stuff. You want the Spider-Man No Way Home bundle, or the Avengers Endgame Iron Man, or all these different kinds of cool bundles, right? Black Widow with her kind of Arctic, cool like agent, that white kind of aesthetic, if you will. It's just really cool, kind of looks. Or, Scarlet Witch from, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that kind of aesthetic. Then, there's bundles there. There's also going to be, you can see that we have the Battle Pass. Now, the Battle Pass is not super huge, at least at the time of recording this. It's the first season. I'm recording this, by the way, December 9th, around like noon. So I've been playing this about 3.5-ish days, I think, since came out on Friday, the previous Friday. But anyways, the Battle Pass, you can see, just like any other Battle Pass you would expect from other games, there's going to be some free rewards. For example, I haven't actually purchased the Battle Pass itself yet. It's just free rewards, and the ones that you actually need the Battle Pass for are going to be titled Luxury. So the Luxury ones are going to be the ones you're going to have to pay for. And the Battle Pass is actually not too expensive. So, for example, if I purchase it, click to purchase it, I can purchase just the base Battle Pass for 490 of these credit things, whatever they're called, or I can get the Luxury Pass plus some extras for 1,000. But let's say I just want the base pack, right? Well, in Canada, this is Canadian price. It's 490. That means I need at least 500. They're calling it Lattice, I guess. So this is $7 Canadian, which I think is like $5 USD, which is pretty fair. The Battle Pass, though, is a little bit on the short side. Like you can see, this is page 1. Some of the rewards. You get some really cool skins like Thunderbolts. Cosmetics and stuff, different things like that. You get different kinds of currencies and different kinds of sprays and emotes and skins and things like that, which is really cool. This is a really sick costume, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff in here. But again, there's like only like 5 pages, 4 pages really, and then you got a 5th page, which is like a comic, a gallery card. Speaking of the gallery, we'll come back to the seasonal stuff in a second, but speaking of the gallery, that's actually pretty interesting because you're probably wondering, well, what about the story? It's a PvP only game like Overwatch, so there's not going to be any kind of story-based mode or anything like that. We're getting the story in a different way. So we're going to get these gallery cards, which is unlocked in like special events, and unlocked, maybe some of them, like you said, seen at the end of the Battle Pass, you're going to get a gallery card. And some of that you're going to get there. And it's basically like these short kind of comics. As you can see, I haven't filled any out yet, but you can see there's going to be these comics that are going to get filled out, and you're going to get a little bit of story like that, these short digital comics, which I think is a really cool aspect of the game. You can see there's serials, so that means like, you know, series of comics, and then there's going to be special editions. So for example, if I go back to season, if I go over to events, for example, there's going to be these events. We'll come back to that in a second. I want to quickly mention one other thing about the battle passes, and to unlock the actual rewards on the battle passes, you need to complete these missions, which give you these kind of battle pass rewards called chrono tokens. And as you can see, that will allow you to exchange them for battle pass rewards. That's kind of how it works. Do I like it? I'm not sure. Do I dislike it? Again, I'm not sure. I'm kind of indifferent at the time. You guys can let me know your thoughts, but it's interesting. But anyways, going back to the events, you can see there's these events. You can see there's 23 days, 21 hours of time recording that's left in this event, and there's some nodes that have not yet unlocked. If I go to the first one, you can see that there's going to be these challenges you got to do, and if you complete all the challenges, you're going to get this story section unlocked, complete missions to unlock gallery card and stories. So that's going to give you more of the story. But again, some of them are going to be very specific things to do. Some of them are just going to be like win 3 matches in specific kind of maps. Some of them might be like, you know, defeat 30 enemies as Hela, Loki, Thor, Bruce Banner, Black Widow, or Luna Snow, and these specific kind of maps. And then the other one would be like, you know, defeat 5 enemies as Storm or Captain America with Thor forces, electrifying enhancement. So you get pretty particular. And what that means is because there's these things called team ups, which I'll explain in just a second. So that's kind of the gist of the seasonal stuff. Beyond that, like I said, we have the store. There are tournaments as well that you can sign up for that it's already out. I mean, this has been the smoothest launch of any game, I think, ever in a long time, especially PvP games. Like, no server crashes. Everything's pretty smooth. Yeah, there's some balancing things that I think could be taken care of. You know, I'm looking at you, Iron Fist. But, you know, beyond that, I think it's pretty good, which is nice. You can create your own factions and stuff. So, overall, that's kind of the base mechanics of like how the game works outside of the gameplay element itself. Now that we're done kind of explaining, you know, the story elements, the battle pass, the store, you know, different things like that, let's actually get into the gameplay. So the gameplay has to do with, we have heroes, right? And again, I don't want to, you know, compare this to Overwatch, because there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, this is an Overwatch clone. Even if you were to say that, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because I still think Marvel Rivals does its own thing. And I think what it does better than what Overwatch has been doing, at least in the recent years, especially with Overwatch 2, is it brings the fun element back, which I feel like was severely lacking in Overwatch 2 personally. Subjective, everybody's different, right? But I think that it's like, where Overwatch is now compared to where it was, it used to be just so much more fun, and now it doesn't feel as fun as it used to feel. And I feel like Marvel Rivals brings that back. And there's also the element, like, if you're a nerd, if you know, like me, if you like, you know, Marvel comics and maybe the movies or whatever else, you just like the Marvel universe in general, then there's that extra layer that is just going to appeal to you as well. So in terms of the heroes, we have a bunch of different characters. Now, I will say, I mean, these characters are going to remind you of different characters from Overwatch. Obviously, I mean, like I said, the gameplay style is similar to Overwatch. Overwatch is obviously a unique game. There hasn't really been many games like it, but this is the first one, I think, that really can kind of sort of, you know, hold its own with that kind of genre. So again, the gameplay is pretty much the exact same. You're going to have, you know, different kinds of heroes. Some are going to be support. So for example, Adam Warlock, you see the little hand icon that's like kind of like pointed outwards as if, like, you know, giving, you know, and that's because it's support and whatnot. And then, you know, you have characters like Black Panther, Black Widow. Black Widow, for example, is going to be very similar to playstyle like to Widowmaker, ironically, from Overwatch, but it fits the whole like Marvel universe, because that's kind of how Black Widow as a character is, and Black Widow is obviously a lot older of a character than Widowmaker, and so they just kind of adapted Black Widow's, you know, kind of lore into something that made sense in terms of, you know, gameplay, and in that kind of style of game that is similar to Overwatch. And I don't want to keep mentioning Overwatch, but again, it's the thing that people are going to be most similar to. For example, Bruce Banner is going to probably remind you of like Diva. As you play as Hulk, if you get destroyed, it's like Diva kind of getting ejected out of her mech suit, and then, you know, what happens is you become Bruce Banner and instead of Hulk, and then you're vulnerable for a period of time until you can, you know, recharge your ability to go back into as Hulk and different things like that. So again, there's a bunch of different characters. I'm not going to explain what all the characters do, but what I would suggest is if you're jumping into this game, Try all the different characters, really learn them, because if you learn them, you learn which ones, first of all, you like to play as, and you also learn how they're going to play when you're facing against them, which is going to be just absolutely critical. And please, 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 until you really understand how to, until you can really hold your own with a couple different characters, please avoid ranked. I beg you. I mean, you do what you want, but I've been very frustrated playing ranked and feeling just like, people don't really understand the mechanics of the game, but they're in ranked. In pubs, I get it, okay? But in ranked, it's like, all right, man, you would expect people to at least have a little bit more of a grasp on the game than they do. And anyway, so try to understand, how the characters work. You got guys like Doctor Strange and whatnot. He's going to be a little bit more of like, sort of like a tank, I guess you could say, in a sense, right? Groot also. And again, I'll just show you guys all the different characters that we have as of right now. They're going to be assumingly adding more characters. There's been rumors they're going to be adding Ultron, whether Ultron is added by the time you guys see this video or not. So yeah, it's an interesting game with a lot of interesting mechanics. Again, you got guys like the Punisher, which I think plays kind of similar to like Soldier 76 in Overwatch, but also unique in its own way. So it's like, I can't just say like there's a 1-for-1, right? Like none of these characters play a 1-for-1 with, Overwatch characters, but they'll definitely remind you of Overwatch characters. So again, any symbol that you see with the hand kind of sticking out, it's a support character. The best support characters as of right now is Jeff, which is really annoying. His all is just stupidly annoying. Mantis is another great support that people have been playing a lot. Luna Snow a little bit as well. And here's the thing, there's team ups, which I'll explain in a second as well. And so the way this works is, and you have this symbol here with the kind of, the kind of arms crossed, those are tanks, right? So, then you have the fists, those are kind of more like your DPS, kind of characters. So the way you kind of want to set this up, typically to have the best chance of succeeding, is it's a 6v6. You want probably 2 supports. So, let's say someone's playing Jeff, for example, someone's playing Mantis. You got your 2 supports. What the supports are going to be focusing on is healing. Okay, so you're going to be trying to support your team by giving them things like buffs, right? Maybe there's a buff that gives you a little bit more. For example, Mantis can give you a little bit of a buff that makes you a little bit more increased damage for a short period of time, and then you could also heal and different things like that. So they're, allied inspiration, for example, consume life orbs to grant allies a damage boost. So you're trying to support your team. If you see, you got to be focusing around and seeing, okay, is someone in need of healing, right? Like, pay attention. You have to have really good game awareness. Like, where's everybody at? What does their health look like? Well, I got to heal them. If they need some heals, I got to heal them. I don't want to wait for them to ask for a heal. I want to be on top of that so they never have to ask. The worst thing for someone who's not playing support is to be in a game and to have to constantly ask the support players, hey, I need healing. You know what I mean? On the other hand, right, support, players, they're not omnipresent. They can't be everywhere at all times. And so sometimes, you also, as the non-support player, you got to be aware where your support players are going to be, because if your support players, are if you're kind of like plunging in a little bit, you're kind of, a little bit more kind of in the midst of everything, and your support players obviously a little bit, back, move back a little bit, especially if you don't have other people helping you out. So anyways, that's how supports work. And then we have, like I said, tanks. So like, Hulk is a tank that I've been seeing a lot of people use. Venom is a very popular one, for example. And the way these guys are going to work is that they're going to be taking the brute of the damage, right? So the tanks kind of want to be on the front lines a little bit, right? They're trying to absorb as much of the damage and do as much damage back as possible. And so, guys like Hulk, for example, he's big. He's got a ton of HP. I can't remember how much, like 600 or 800 usually is how much a tank will have. They're slow, but they can pack a punch. They're hard to kill. And that's the thing, right? So the supports definitely want to make sure their tanks are staying alive, because the tanks are kind of, again, they're like the pain. They're like the pain in your neck that just, like, it's like they're hard to kill, especially if you have a good support that is constantly healing them. They're really hard to kill, and they're just like I said, they're taking kind of a lot of the damage, the incoming damage from people. They're kind of on the front lines a little bit, not necessarily plunging super deep, but you know, like I said, they're in it, right? If you're playing a tank, don't hang back unless your teammates are kind of back, and you know, like maybe there's like ults that are being popped from the enemy, or you know, there's certain instances where obviously you're going to want to fall back, but you know, for generally speaking, you know, don't be afraid if you're a tank, man. You got a lot of HP. You know, get in there, do some damage, and if you're support, make sure you're supporting your tanks, especially because you want to keep them as alive as possible. Because again, they are you know, heavy hitters, and they are taking a lot of the brute force. Now, the only thing left is going to be like your DPS characters, right? Which they're calling duelists in here. So, for example, strategists are basically your supports. Vanguards are your tanks, and then duelists are going to be your DPS characters. So the duelists are going to be the ones that are like, they're going to be kind of going in and trying to, like, you know, they're the ones that are trying to get the kills, pick people off, right? Obviously everybody's going to be getting kills. Like if you're a support player, you can still be like, you know, using your R2 ability to get some kills and things like that as well. But the main focus of a duelist, of a DPS character, is to try to really do like as much damage as possible. And it depends what kind, right? So for example, Black Widow, she has two different abilities for the most part. So she has like, you can see right, like the normal attack. You just push triangle if you're on PlayStation to kind of switch between the two. But she'll have like her melee kind of abilities for the close range stuff, or she'll have her kind of sniper rifle for the more ranged attacks. And so that's kind of, you know, what they're doing is they're trying to really get the DPS. They're trying to get a lot of the damage. They're trying to get a lot of the kills. That's going to be a lot of their focus, right? And everyone's going to be different. So for example, Black Widow, she can play close or far. Someone like Black Panther, on the other hand, mostly melees. A couple abilities, like the L2 ability, you can kind of shoot from far, but it's not, you know, like great. The spear toss. But, for the most part, I mean, you're going to be, you know, characters like Black Panther, you're going to be kind of getting in on the action. Now, what I'll say though is if you are a character like Black Panther and you're getting in on the action, and even if you're not, you know, whatever character you are, if you're getting in on the action, whether you're, you know, whoever you are, healer, tank, you know, duelist, whatever, always make sure you have game awareness. Where are the enemies? Where's your teammates? Because if your teammates just got wiped, whoever you're playing as, you're gonna get destroyed. Okay, so you want to like kind of fall back. There is a time to fall back, unless it's kind of like, you know, you need to kind of hold down a point, contest a point, and it's like do or die. Well, then at that point, contest the point, right? There's no point to hold back. You might as well contest it. And so that's kind of how some of these characters will work. You know, Iron Man's going to play a little bit more range. Obviously, you know, he flies, so he's going to be a little bit more range. Someone like Iron Fist is a little bit more kind of, you know, in the midst of it. He's more of a melee kind of attack kind of character. At the time of recording, he's extremely annoying and OP, and I'll be very surprised if he doesn't get nerfed, because he's really good. He's really good, especially if you team him up with a Luna Snow support. It's deadly. I was trying it with my son. He was playing Luna, supporting, and I was playing Iron Fist, and we were just like, the other team was getting pretty annoyed. They were getting absolutely angry. They were typing in the chat all kinds of stuff because they're just really mad at the fact of it. So again, you know, there's going to be different kinds of characters. So even if there's a character, you know, characters within a class, right? Like I said, you know, these are all duelist classes, right? Moon Knight, Magic, but they all play differently. Learn these characters, play them all, play a little bit of all of them, and really learn what they all do. See what you like and dislike, and try to find characters within each class that you like and dislike as well, because you never know. Let's say you go into a game, okay, you have everything, but you need another support. Well, then you need to adapt. You need to learn to be able to play a support, or vice versa. Maybe you usually play a duelist. You have enough duelists as is. You need a tank. Well, then you need to learn how to play some of the tanks. So find a couple of characters in each class that you can, you know, really learn and really adapt to your playing style, and learn how they work very well to learn how to play each of these. And that'll make you an invaluable kind of player, because at that point, you're someone who can adapt. You have different choices of different characters you can choose from different classes. So if you jump into a team and your team needs, you know, whatever class, that, you know, then that's good, right? You want that. You want to be able to be proficient with at least a couple characters from each class. So that's kind of the gist of how that works. But then we have one other element. I know this is a very long video, but we have one other element called team-ups. Team-ups is very deep to explain, so I'm going to explain it a little bit kind of more lightly. You can see that there's all these different categories, and there's these characters under each category. So for example, I was kind of noting, just as one example, Luna Snow with what's his name? Iron Fist. That's one combo right here called Atlas Bond. Why is it so good? Well, if I go to the team-up abilities, you can see that Iron Fist's passive is to channel the chi of Xiao into Luna Snow, transforming her ice power into a chi-infused frosty ring that radiates from her. The ring, this ring can launch up enemies with chilling damage and applies a slowing effect while simultaneously healing her allies. Now, for Iron Fist, on the other hand, what does he get out of Luna Snow? Well, basically, wait, does this say the exact same thing? This ring can launch... Okay, so I have no idea why it says the same thing, but essentially what happens from our testing is, I believe Iron Fist, I think if I recall correctly, he was getting like a 15% damage buff from this team up. And what this team up is, I mean, basically we just have both these characters on the same team. And again, there's passive and then there's going to be active abilities as well. So it's really crazy. You want to think these things through. This can also give you an advantage in how you're kind of teaming up, right? And again, there are all these different team ups, right? As you can see, right? So for example, there's ammo overload. This is another one me and my son were doing. So for example, with the Punisher and Rocket Raccoon, really cool one. So what Rocket could do is he could put down this device which gives you an ammo overload. And so, for example, if I'm like either Bucky, the Winter Soldier, or if I'm the Punisher, what's happening is we are getting basically buffs of infinite ammo and faster firing. So your firing is like double tap. It's like double the speed almost. And you can also get infinite ammo as well, which means like you don't have to reload, which is just stupid OP. It's not actually broken OP because again, this device that Rocket tosses down, it doesn't last forever, but in a pinch, it can give you a that buff that gives you a little bit of that edge. You know what I mean? So these team ups are going to be huge if you pay attention to them. So pay attention to these kind of team ups and how they work. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to give you two examples of things that I've actually personally used because they're just really, really crazy. So I think that's sort of the basics, the fundamentals of how this game works. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Again, I'm not a professional by any means, but hopefully I've helped you kind of get a little bit of an understanding of how the game works. Yeah, it could be a lot to take in. There's kind of it could be a little bit of a steep learning curve, but don't let that discourage you because this game is a lot of fun. And if you really take the time to learn it, I think you're gonna enjoy it even more. If you don't take the time to learn it, I think you might actually end up being put off from the game because you don't understand how it works, and then you're just gonna be frustrated because maybe you have like a team of like 6 duelists, which makes no sense whatsoever, and then everything becomes a frustration. Or for the person who does know how to play and they go into play. And people are just like they don't know how to kind of like split up the roles, if you will. That kind of becomes frustrating as well. People have expressed the desire to see role queuing come into this the way Overwatch implemented that as well, which might be a good idea. But that's kind of the gist of it. Like I said, there's other things we could kind of go through. Like obviously there's settings that we could talk about. Out of the gate. Your voice chat's going to be turned off. You go down to audio, you can go to voice chat, you can turn that on if you want it on. I'm not gonna lie, you might want it off, especially for toxic people. We've all been in those frustrating situations once or twice. If you click on the kind of top right corner on your profile, this is where you can see your time played. It says 12.6 hours. Let me just show you real quick though. If I close out, it says like over 22 hours on my PlayStation. So I've definitely been playing a lot longer than that. Closer to 25 probably, roughly. But anyways, the point is you can see your stats. My stats are not great, but let's not look at that. You can see your kind of breakdown for who you've played with each character. Your history, which my history was not great. It was great yesterday. I had a bunch of SVPs and MVPs, but anyways, you can check out the leaderboards, your favorites, right? So the cool thing is there's actually highlight reels, so you can actually go in here and you can check out a previous reel. So if you're kind of like, it's going to show your last 5 highlights. Highlights are basically what you did that was kind of epic in a game, or the best thing. So for example, if I load one of my highlights, it'll just show like, basically your best play in that game. So I guess this was like my best play in this game. Actually, I understand why this was my best play. This actually clutched the game. I remember this game. This actually clutched us the win because they were pushing in this kind of spawn area. And this was ranked play, and because I used my ultimate, it cleared out the area and allowed us to win. So anyways, you can see your most recent highlights, and you can save them if you want to. I could click save, for example, and just be like, hella, okay, great. Now it's loading the highlight. But anyways, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go back. And that's kind of how that works. And then you got your match replays as well. It's not showing any right here, but if I actually go over to my history over here, so for example, if I go to any of these games, I can click on a game, and if I go down to the little kind of like play icon down here, I can actually check out my replay. So it'll just load the replay of the entire game. I'm not even kidding you. Let me load this in and show you guys exactly how this works. So I'm in the game, as you guys can see. It's a 10-minute and 30-second game. I can fast forward. You can see different markers on the actual timeline to show you when specific events kind of happened. I can use the R1 and L1 to kind of make this go a little bit quicker, for example. I can hide the team info if I want to. I can toggle the POV, right? So I can kind of move around like this if I want. I mean, the replays are insane. The game just came out and it launched with replays that are just absolutely insane. I don't know why I'm still in spawn, but anyways, you can exit your replay after and whatnot. It's really cool that you have that ability, and again, you can save your replays. So why is this good? Well, it's good because you have the ability to go review what you did wrong and what you did right. So you can go back and watch your replays and analyze where things went wrong for you. If you're like, I keep getting smoked in this, kind of one situation, what's happening? You can go review it. Is it actually your fault? What could you have done differently, and what could your teammates have done differently as well? And you can actually see it, because when you're actually playing, you just kind of, you got a little bit of tunnel vision. It's not the same as reviewing it after. So it's really cool that you have that ability to go through your history, and they all have replays, and you can save the replays if you want to, if you really like the game and whatnot as well. And then you got your customization, which is where like basically your kind of, your plates, if you will. You can kind of put on, you can equip them, and that's pretty much that. You can unlock these in very different ways, whether it's bundles in the store or the battle pass or different things like that. Like this one right here that I have equipped was a Twitch reward, for example. And then your title, there's different titles you can unlock as well. And then you got achievements. You got in-game achievements. So for example, relive a highlight in your career. Well, then, that's going to be an achievement right here. There's all these different things. Switch up 5 different nameplates, right? Read 15 team-up stories. There's a lot of different things, in-game challenges and achievements that you can kind of look at. And then, you're going to get different kinds of rewards as you unlock these achievements, right? You'll get titles, you'll get chrono tokens, for example, all these different things. So, for example, right here, I just acquired Ivory Breeze, which is a costume for Storm, which is really, really cool. So, yeah, definitely check out the achievements section. You're not going to want to miss that, because, again, you're going to have all these different kinds of things, collectibles and all that cool stuff. So that's pretty much that. So I think that covers everything now that I wanted to cover. Like I said, you got your currencies, the lattice, you got your units, which is universal currency across the cosmos, it says. You got your kind of notifications. You go in right over here and whatnot. And that's pretty much it. And if you want to know how to invite friends, by the way, you go to the kind of top right corner, the little friends icon, and then you can see your friends down here. You can go over to your PlayStation friends if you're on a console, or PC if you're on Steam, or whatever it is, friend requests, and that's kind of how you access that if you're wondering how that works. And then of course you got your daily challenges here and stuff, and your weekly challenges you can see here in the events tab. And then you just go click play, and you just start up a game if you want to play the game. So that's pretty much it. And you also have a practice range. So that's pretty much it. That's the gist of Marvel Rivals. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more. Let me know if there's anything I missed that you would add. And also, if you want to change the hero that's kind of like on your loading screen here, you can also do that, which I actually haven't really done. So, you can put like Spider-Man if you want, for example, and then you're just going to see Spider-Man hanging out there, or whatever you want. So anyways, that's kind of the gist of the game. I hope this helped you in some way. If it didn't, let me know so I can improve the content in the future. If it did, leave a like and subscribe for more. And until the next one, game on. We'll see you guys soon. Hey, you! What are you doing? Join the skeleton army. Do it today. Don't wait till tomorrow because tomorrow might never come. The earth is going to fade. That's inevitable. The next second of your life's not even promised, so you better think about where you're going, and you might as well just join the skeleton army. Plus, we do kind of like you a little bit, so it'd be nice to see you around here. But if you don't want to, hey, your loss. See you later.